Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to week 2 live session for CU 101 Culinary Foundations here at Escoffier. Chef Matthew and I welcome you to another fine live session. So welcome, everybody. Great job on week 1 that we're going to get into here in just a few minutes. It's really important before we get started tonight. We had a little bit of a challenge last week with our class because I think we all got really excited. We all wanted to start asking questions and everything else. So tonight we need to make sure that we kind of follow the system. Down on the bottom of your screen, you can raise your hand when you need to answer a question. Chef Matthew and myself will go ahead and lower your hand and unmute you when it'll be your turn to talk. We're just trying to keep everything going in a flowing manner so everybody can understand everything that's going on. And then we do keep everybody muted during the live session to prevent any kind of background noise so everybody can hear. So if you have any questions, there's a chat box and you'll see the button down at the bottom of your screen. And Chef Matthew is the man, the myth, in charge of the chat. And so he'll do his best. And if anything's really prevalent to the entire class, he's been known to jump in and say, hey guys, I've got a great question to share with everybody. So do that.
So if I look like I'm going like this, it's because I'm working on the chat stuff. So
that's it.
I'm still paying attention.
Hey guys, first thing I want to do this week is congratulate those of you that reached out and communicated. Communication is a huge part of being a chef. A culinarian, we communicate all day long. We are not afraid to pick up the phone. We are not afraid to jump in and get the answers that we need. Everyone on the screen needs to start developing that mentality now. So when you're in industry, you're ready to go. Don't be shy. Don't be coy, sitting in the back, hoping you're going to figure this thing out. If you guys have problems with your class or you don't understand something, make sure you pick up the phone. You call myself, you call Chef Matthew, you call student support. You get the help you need. Because if you don't, then you're going to fall quickly behind. And don't let that frustration mount, right? I know some of you right off the bat this weekend got a little frustrated with Google Drive, technology issues. Am I right? Yeah, raise your hand if anybody felt a little frustrated in that department, right? That's normal. Don't let the frustration eat you alive. They're going to help you out. The technical department, we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Just be patient. We're working with you. By week 12, you guys are like Google Drive. You know, you guys rock the house on that. So just chill out. You're going to get through it. It'll be perfectly fine, right? How'd everybody like the knowledge check from week 1? Good? Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Robert down there is like, oh, so. Yeah. Hey, check it out, guys. You all did very, very well on the knowledge check. Little concern, though, because the knowledge check was due by Saturday. We had a couple of people that were running late this week, and I wanted to touch on that here quickly. If, as a chef, once you guys get into the kitchen, right, and you guys have a party for 100 people, right, on a Saturday night, when are you going to start cooking for that 100 people? When are you going to do it? Right? Are you going to do it Saturday? No? And then, right. You sit down, you plan it out, you have it ready to go, and then by Saturday, you're doing nothing but putting the food on the plate. All of you need to really get in that mentality now. Otherwise, you're going to have a really rough time when you get into industry. Chef Matthew and I talked to all of you last week about running ahead of the game. We talked to you about, what you should do on Wednesday, right? Live session. Thursday, get your knowledge check discussion board done. Friday, plan out your exercise, and then do your shopping Saturday and Sunday. Prepare your food. Submit it on Sunday. This way you're not looking for your assignment from Chef Matthew because, hey, you got it in early. You got plenty of time to get it fixed. Chefs, successful chefs, run way ahead of the game. We are always, as an executive chef, I was always working 2 to 3 weeks out, right? Not preparing food, but I can tell you exactly what my staff was going to be doing 3 weeks from today. And that's the mentality that you guys need to have. In industry, we call it proaction before reaction. If the knowledge check is due on Saturday, don't do it on Saturday, man. Don't wait. Get it done on Wednesday, right? If your assignment's due on Tuesday, no, man, that's a bad thing to wait till Tuesday to submit it. Submit it on Sunday, kick back in case there's any problems. You got plenty of time to fix it. That is a successful chef. That's what we look for, and that's what we want to see from everybody. So we got to keep that going. Those knowledge checks, we had a couple of people that missed them. And if you were one of the folks that missed them, please be conscientious of the fact that those 10 points add up quickly for each knowledge check, and it could cost you the difference between passing and failing the course. And I had that happen to a couple of people last course, and I don't want that for anybody. They're easy points, get them done, right? How did everybody like the first assignment? Everybody like it? Not like it? Good, bad, different? Benjamin's like, no. Donald's like right down the middle, right? All right, guys. That Rudolph was down. Ladies and gents, this first assignment is extremely frustrating. And it can be tough. Number one, you're dealing with Google Drive, and you haven't done it before. That's not, sometimes that gets a little bit tough there as well. Can everybody keep yourselves on mute, please? There's a couple of people that keep unmuting themselves, so we got to keep all of ourselves muted. And then the knife cuts. How many perfectionists do we have out there? How many people? See, those are mostly the people that are going like this. The knife cuts are going to have to be something you're going to have to practice on for the remainder of your career. You're going to be chasing perfection from now till then. I have been in the kitchen for 37 years as an executive chef, director of food and beverage. I still practice knife cuts, right? I still practice knife cuts. Chef Matthew, the same thing. All of you are going to be doing that. So don't be disappointed. Don't be discouraged. We don't expect anybody to rock the house and have a perfect set of knife cuts on week 1, right? We get a little concerned about you on week 12 if you can't get it done. But on week 1, it's okay. That's one. Number 2, ladies and gents, you're in school. It's okay not to be perfect because we are here. It's our jobs to help coach you along and guide you along the way. So be patient with yourselves, self-discipline. You guys are doing muscle memory. Muscle memory takes time, right? Do you know if you keep your arms one direction, to train yourself to go to the opposite direction takes at least 30 days, right? So you are training the muscles in your hands to work with your knives. Don't forget your knife grip, everybody, right? 3 fingers on the grip, index finger and thumb on the blade. 3 fingers on the grip, index finger, thumb on the blade. Very, very important. We also keep our claw, right? So we only have our fingertips on the food, knife blade up against, right? So we never cut ourselves. Practice, guys. Practice, practice, practice. Be patient with yourselves as well. If your Batonnaise, your Juliennes, your Brunoise, your small dice, if those didn't come out perfect this week, you're not alone, right? Chef Matthew's going to fill all of you in on that, and that's okay. We don't expect you to be absolutely perfect on the first run. So we do expect you to keep trying and keep working on it, and that's just going to take a little bit of time. So before we roll over to Chef Matthew here for a few moments, I wanted to talk about the importance of some of the stuff that we're teaching you. Number 1, station setup, right? We talked about the anchor. We talked about the cutting board. Talked about your mise en place. That's not something we do just in Escoffier. That is something you will do every single day in industry. That is something that is done. I've worked in kitchens all over the world, from Trinidad and Tobago. I ran a huge vineyard down in Mexico. I've worked all over the world. Every single kitchen is virtually the same, right? So that's why we're having you guys get in these habits now. So Chef Matthew, as time progresses, is going to get real tough on you guys about sanitation, station setup, and everything else. And it's not that something we created. It's something that you have to do in industry. Once you guys become chefs, you're going to be making sure your staffs are doing this on a regular basis. and you're going to reflect upon this period in your life, because you're going to say, I know how, right? Thank you very much, Mr. Escoffier. So that's coming down the pipe. How many people are tired of potatoes out there? Not yet. Huh? Yeah. Ooh, we're going to have a lot of potatoes here in this course, because we're going to be working a lot on knife cuts. You guys, once you get into industry, when you walk into the kitchen, guess what you're going to see? You're going to see everybody with 3 fingers on the grip, index finger and thumb on the blade, and going like this with their claw grip. So it's not something that we dream up. This is reality, and this is what we do, and this is how we do it. So the uniforms, Chef Matthew is going to touch on that here in just a few moments. Uniforms are not something that we dream up either. Uniforms are something that you are going to have to utilize on a daily basis. It's safety, it's sanitation, it's professionalism. And then you guys are also going to have to learn how to enforce this, because wearing the uniforms is not the most comfortable thing in the world, man. It's not, right? But we don't do it because we want to. We do it because safety, sanitation, and professionalism. So be aware of that, and keep your head about yourself with that. And the sanitation solution, I'm sure Chef Matthew loves to talk about sanitation solution. We're going to talk about it twice tonight. Sanitation solution, and the things I'm bringing up are calls that I had this weekend and questions about it. Sanitation solution is not something that we invented, and it's not something that we just choose to put on there. Every kitchen you go into across this great land is going to have sanitation buckets on the station, right? We want you, when you walk into that kitchen, to be able to walk in and start kicking, right? And you guys will, at some point in time in your career, have the health department walk up and check your sanitation bucket with their test strip, right? It's gonna have, look at Julie, yeah? They've been there, done that, huh? Yeah, so it happens, right? So these are the habits that we're trying to instill upon all of you now. We're not, this is reality. You guys are on the cusp of moving forward. Chef Matthew, fill me in, man. What's going on with last week's assignments? What do you think?
Well, out of the ones I've graded, I have to say I'm super impressed. I'm super pumped. I think we've got a lot of skills in this class, and I'm really excited. I have a list. I made a list of stellar submissions, and it doesn't even come close to getting to everybody. So I got a little Post-it here with some names on it. And Janae Bryan, fantastic submission. That was one of the best. Angel Osorio, Dan Quigley, Tanya Reichs, Jawan Whetstone, Andre Smith, and Angelica Paiva. Man, cuts were great. I didn't expect to have so many cuts so good, because I thought so many people were just working on it for the first time. And I know I had a couple texts back and forth with Jawan, and he said he hasn't been in the industry that long, and he nailed those cuts. I was super impressed, super pumped. You guys, it can be done. In the last block, Chef, you remember there were some that they started out and their cuts were not good, and they had trouble with Google Drive, and they had trouble with submitting. They forgot their selfie. That's what's your selfie supposed to look like, everybody?
Head to toe.
Head to toe. There we go.
There you go.
So the head to toe selfie. But then by the end of the class, I mean, everybody was doing it. And, I love to see that. I love to see if you're having trouble with something and I help you with it, and then you get it, and then you succeed. That's what I like to see. So keep communicating with me. I've had a lot of good communication, and keep communicating with me, and we're going to fix this. Everything is fixable. You're gonna learn that pretty quickly with Escoffier. The way we do this, we can fix a lot of issues. You don't have to think, oh my God, my week 1 assignment was late, my grade's gonna suffer. No, you don't have to worry about that. We're gonna get that assignment will get submitted. You will be able to turn that in. we're going to work with you and make sure that it gets turned in, and your grade won't suffer. Because we like good grades, and we like people that learn, and hopefully you're all here to have fun.
Yeah.
Fun, very important.
Let's take a question from Jeffrey here real quick. What's going on, Jeffrey? You still have a question?
So yeah, on the knowledge test, I noticed I like getting ahead of the game, and I'm a reader. I spend 4 hours a day reading. That's part of my profession. I noticed that you can't unlock the knowledge session. It only unlocks each week. Is it going to eventually allow us to do that ahead of time? No.
No. That's a good point, and we're going to be talking about the knowledge check this week because there's a little burp in the system. I don't know if you caught it or not, but we're going to go ahead and spread that out. But I'm glad that you brought that up, Jeffrey, because we don't want you working too far in advance.
Okay.
Should you guys have a personal situation where you're not going to be available for the next week, and you call me and you say, hey, is there any way I can get the knowledge check done so I get it? Well, yeah, I'm going to open it up for you so you get it done. But it's kind of on a case-by-case basis.
All right.
Great question. Donald, what about you? What's up? Donald, I can't hear you, man.
Pertaining to the heating of food and all this stuff, but where's the reading for the I have to find for the quiz or whatever I'm talking about?
That's what we're going to be talking about here in just a minute, Donald.
So I mean, I did it just to see how well I do, but we're going to discuss that. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm going to explain all that here in just a second. That's a great point that you bring up, though, and that's on the agenda to talk about.
Okay.
Thanks. Cool. All right, ladies and gents, Chef Matthew just touched on something that's a critical issue here in culinary arts. We work under pressure. We get stressed. You gotta have fun along the way. Don't lose your sense of humor. I mean, otherwise it's just not worth it in the long run. And I want to touch one more thing before we move on to some other issues here. You've got to make this program your priority in your life, right? No, we don't want to be your dominant nature. You are all here building a better tomorrow, right? You have to make the program your priority in order to help you succeed tomorrow, right? Don't let drama in your life. Don't let emergencies in your life. Keep all that stuff outside. Lock the door, the deadbolt, everything, right? Move forward, drama-free, focus on school, get your assignments in early, and you're going to be a rock star. Lahoma, what's up?
Yeah, I was curious about Google Drive and how you want that to be organized. I couldn't get my pictures to upload in the exact order that they're supposed to be in. Do you guys make sense of that if we can't?
Yes, and I'm going to talk about that here in like 30 seconds, so that's a great segue to my next thing.
Okay.
Thanks, Lahoma. All right, ladies and gents, technology. We know that we were all frustrated just a little bit with technology this past weekend. And you guys are not alone. It's perfectly normal. I think our IT department got a little bit overwhelmed, and they're doing things they can to get that straightened out. However, thank you everybody for sticking with it and getting through it. Now, there is on the class page, and I'm going to show you here real quick what we are looking for. This tab right here, right, where it says help, you're going to click on help, and then you're going to hit help center. And then when you hit help center, it's going to give you a whole slew of Google videos on how to answer 99% of your questions that relate to Google Drive right here. So all you do is you go to the class page, and then you're going to click on help, and then hit help center. And then you simply go down, and it's going to answer all your questions right in here. Does that clarify a lot for some people? And then, of course, if you can't get Still have somebody that's unmuted somewhere in there. However, if those don't answer your question, certainly call our IT department, 877-224-8576. Their phone number is also located on the bottom of each of our class pages. So take advantage of it, work through it. It gets better once you understand the Google Drive. So don't be discouraged. Don't give up, right? Hang in there. You'll get through it. It does make sense. And always remember, if you have problems with your class, the assignment, you don't understand it, you need help with it, you don't know what's going on, you got life problems, class problems, whatever, call moi, Chef Warren, 520-276-6281. And if you have grading challenges, you don't understand your grade, you don't understand your evaluation, contact Chef Matthew. We're here to help you out. We're going to make it happen for you. So let's take a look. Our objective this week for week 2 here in Culinary Foundations is chicken fabrication and continued knife skills and a little bit of sanitation. So that's what we're going to be working on this week. I want to take a look at our class page here quickly to make sure that we're all on the same page. Is everybody seeing these little videos right here? Right? Those are produced by moi. They're very lower quality, I'd call them, but they work, right? And then research materials and sanitation knowledge check. This is the problem. The research materials do not coincide with the knowledge check this week. So to get the answers for your sanitation knowledge check, all that information is under week 1, okay? Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Donald, for shaking your heads. Yeah. So for week 2, all of the sanitation knowledge check research materials are located in week 1. Week 1 for your research materials for your week 2 sanitation knowledge check. 2, 1, right? We got that? Any questions? No? Okay. And then we're going to talk about sanitation here in just a moment. Live session. Thank you all so much. The students that rock the house for every block are the ones that make every live session. If you can't make the live session, make sure you watch the live session archive. It'll be posted here shortly. And then down at the bottom, you will find our knife skills and chicken fabrication. Make sure this week, should you get stuck while you're working on your chicken, click on research materials. There's an awesome video in here on how to fabricate chicken that'll walk you through the whole process. And you'll know exactly what you're doing. So take advantage of it.
You know what, too, on fabricating chicken, don't expect every cut to come out exactly perfect the first try. I mean, that bird has a lot of bones, and that's probably the biggest and most important thing is knowing where those bones are. So get familiar with it. Take a look at it. Get your hands in there and find all those bones. Find the joints. Figure out where they are.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And before we move into the world of chicken butchery, we're going to talk briefly about sanitation. I hope everybody pays close attention to this part. I need a number from somebody out there. One number. How much does foodborne illness cost the restaurant industry on an annual basis? Who's got a guess? One guess, one guess. Anybody? Donald, what do you think, man?
In food. Oh, is that the question? I mean,
yeah. How much money does it cost the restaurant industry on an annual basis?
I'll say about $2.5 billion.
Okay,
that's my guess.
Not a bad guess, man. Guess what the real answer is? It's $15.5 billion a year is what it costs the restaurant industry in the United States, right? Chipotle alone was close to $600 million that it cost in lost revenues, closed stores, lost jobs, marketing image, and not to mention the poor folks that got sick. So it's something that we take extremely seriously in the restaurant industry. Foodborne illness, The number one way that we spread foodborne illness in industry, poor hand washing, right? You know, it's kind of a tough subject. When I worked in a ground school, the first thing we do for the first couple of weeks is teach people how to wash their hands. And it's amazing how many people don't. Number one way that we spread foodborne illness is by not washing our hands. The two primary illnesses that we spread are norovirus and hepatitis A, right? So it's extremely serious. Washing your hands, folks. I know that you're all adults and you're all professionals, but man, it's you got to make sure that you do it religiously. What comes out the backside doesn't do so well on the front side in food, and it's amazing how much of that gets spread around. It takes 15 to 20 seconds to wash your hands with warm water. We sing the song whenever you walk into a kitchen. It's amazing. You'll see cooks standing in the corner singing happy birthday to themselves, and it's not that they're really that happy. You'll see another cook in the other corner singing the ABC song, and it's not that they're really slow. It's how we time ourselves to the 15, 20 seconds. Happy birthday to you twice equals about 20 seconds. ABCD twice equals about 20 seconds. Warm water all the way to your forearm. Hot, 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 as hot as you can handle it, at least 110 degrees. Soap, wash, rinse, and then how do we dry? How do we dry? We dry with a single-use towel only. Single-use paper towel. Never dry your hands on your apron. Never dry your hands on your coworker's back. Don't use your apron. You're going to get busted. We don't do that. Gloves, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of people in this class, you know, just starting out all gung-ho, like to wear those fancy black chef gloves. Right? Or they like to wear the thank you, Chef Matthew, for turning down the noise there a bit. Yeah. Gloves are not necessary in industry, and as certainly in this class, we don't encourage them. Gloves are only required to be worn when you work with what we call RTE Foods. RTE Foods is an acronym for ready-to-eat products such as salads and sandwiches, foods that will not be cooked before they go to the customer again. So those are RTE Foods. During that time, you must wear gloves. If not, don't use them because you don't have the sense of feel. You're going to cut yourself. Gloves transmit foodborne illness just as well as hands do, right? So wear them when required. Don't wear them when not required. It's very, very important. In industry, ladies and gents, we take sanitation so seriously and personal hygiene so seriously. At the beginning of each shift, we'll line our cooks up on the wall, right? Just like little prisoners. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Line them up. And then I'll walk down and I'll check everybody's fingernails, right? Check everybody's shoes. Are they clean? Are they sanitary? Is the apron fresh? Is it clean? Is their uniform ironed? Are they clean shaven? Has their hair been washed? These are all things that we take a look at. These are ways that we spread foodborne illness. If I have a cook that comes in and he hasn't washed recently and he's been rubbing his hair, and the hair is the ideal ground to ideal area to breed bacteria, and then some of that hair falls into the food when he's cooking a dish, I have a guest that gets sick. They report it to the health department. They trace it back to my restaurant. They close me down, all my employees lose their jobs, and I'm out of my money. I take it very, very seriously. So you got to watch that. Okay, cleaning. Very, very simple. Do not use your sanitizer bucket to clean your station. That's not what it's there for. In industry, we clean, which means to remove all of your work surfaces and equipment free of debris. Right? Free of debris. We wipe it with hot soap and water. We dry it, and then we sanitize it. So we wash, rinse, sanitize our surfaces. Right? Don't get caught with your shorts down saying, oh no, I just wipe with the sanitizer when the health department comes in. They're going to have a heyday with you. The local health department is taken very, very seriously in the United States. They supersede all, and generally that's done by the county in each state. They supersede any federal law. They supersede any workers' law. So if you work at Domino's Pizza, regardless of the fact they're a huge pizza chain, the local county's government is going to supersede what they tell you to do. So you have to follow that. It's very, very serious. Talked about the sanitizer bucket a few minutes ago. It's not for decoration, people, right? It's very, very serious. If you don't have the red sanitizer bucket yet, make sure you have a plastic single-use sanitizer bucket that is properly labeled, right? Very, very important. Ooh, Chef Matthew, you see any jewelry this week?
No, I didn't see any jewelry, but you know what I did see, Jeff? You know what I did see?
Huh?
I saw 3 bare feet.
No!
Yep, I saw bare feet.
No!
Yep.
Ladies and gents, I know you're at home and you're comfortable and you're trying to feel casual. Do not wear bare feet. That is a major no-no. Number one, it's a sanitation issue. You can spread bacteria quite easily. Number two, it is a very, very serious safety hazard. I've seen a lot of chef's knives go through people's feet when they have proper shoes on, and it's nasty. I can't imagine what's going to happen if it goes through your foot without it. Get in the habit of doing it right from the very beginning. Do not wear bare feet in the kitchen. Oh, bad. Jewelry. No jewelry, anybody. Fingernails, do not paint them. That's a major no-no. Because what happens is the stuff chips and it gets into the food. Nail polish is a toxic substance. We don't have fake nails. Jewelry. The only thing you can wear is a plain wedding band, and that's it, right? We don't like to wear earrings. They get caught in processing equipment. Other jewelry and everything else will get caught in process equipment. It becomes a very serious safety issue. I've seen people lose fingers. I've seen people lose palms of hands. It's not stuff that we make up. This is very, very serious information. So please adhere to those policies. It's stuff we'll take care of. Tyreek, what's up, man? Where's he at?
Can you hear me, Scott?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Hey, I had a quick question about the chicken.
Yeah. Go for it. Uh-oh. I didn't get the question. Did you, Chef Matthew?
I said, did you get it?
Sorry, I'm trying to mute. There's a noise. I'm sorry. I got you. What you're asking, Tyreek, is how big is the chicken?
Yeah, and how are we preparing it?
Get into all those details.
I didn't hear nothing.
Oh, we're gonna get Tyreek. We're gonna get into all those details here in just a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go through, those are good questions, man. And I'm glad you're thinking about it, but we're gonna go through all that information here in just a second. So we got to make sure that we adhere to those policies. Ladies and gents, no fingernail polish, no jewelry. Make sure you wear shoes. Make sure you wear your uniform. The hat. You know, people think, oh, I don't have hair that falls out. Guess what? You do. And everybody in this class right now, I guarantee you're going to do this at some point in time today. And if you have a little something on your hand, your head is 98 degrees. The temperature danger zone, right, is something we focus on. That's between 35 and 141 degrees, according to ServSafe. Between 35 and 141 degrees. That's the ideal breeding temperature for bacteria. They more than double every 20 minutes in the 90s. So if I touch my head at 98.6 degrees and I just got done butchering chicken, that means that any type of bacteria that I got into my hair is now doubling every 20 minutes. Ew! And then a piece of hair falls out, right? So we gotta make sure that we watch that extremely closely. Something else hang on. Is everybody muted? There we go. And then something else we really have to watch out on. It's extremely important is cross-contamination. And cross-contamination could be defined as I'm simply butchering this chicken with my knife right now. Then I turn around and I slice a tomato real quick. Then I go back to butchering the chicken. I'm butchering a steak on my cutting board. I lift the steak up, I put an onion down, I dice it, then I put the steak back down. Cross-contamination. It happens all day, every day in restaurants, and it's a real dangerous form of getting people sick. So we have to be very, very careful about that.
Chef, and just to back you up on that, Chef, I mean, it's an awareness you have to develop as a chef, that if you touch chicken, now your hand is contaminated and you don't touch anything else till you wash that hand. You just have to develop that awareness. And even when people wear gloves, sometimes they think their gloves are now magically sanitary just because they have gloves on, and then they touch chicken, and then they touch lettuce, and then they scratch their head, and then, no, those gloves are contaminated very easily, just like your hands are. So it's an awareness you have to develop. Just think about everything you touch.
Yep. Very, very, very important, great thing that I'm glad you brought that up, Chef Matthew. Ladies and gents, what a great segue into our next thing, our weekly assignment. Butchering chicken. How many people out there fabricated chicken before? Yeah, let me see some hands. Let me see some hands. Yeah, Mercedes done it. Toby, what about you? You did it? Courtney, what about you? Have you ever fabricated a chicken? No? All right, Layla has, Jeffrey has, Rachel has, Benjamin, Shay, Jacqueline. All right, Julie. So we got Donald. So we got a few people out there that have blasted some chickens beforehand. We are going to teach you the technique. This whole program, this whole 12 weeks is about nothing more than the technique, right? We want you to learn the technique. Focus on that. Okay, so we come off of sanitation. We're going into an assignment this week that is really critical with sanitation. You have to watch your P's and Q's with working with chicken. All over your hands, like Chef Matthew said, all over your cutting board, everywhere else, dripping on them feet, right? So we don't want any of those problems. Why do we like to butcher whole chickens? Number one, it's far more economical than buying chicken breast or chicken thighs or chicken legs, because you get the entire product to work with, which gives you a lot of different leeway. You can take the chicken legs, you can debone them, you can stuff them, right? You can take the breast, you can grill them, you can slice them, you can roast them. There's thousands of different things you can do, but buying an entire chicken gives you the leeway and the luxury of doing a lot of other things with the product that you normally wouldn't get, and you pay a lot higher price per pound to buy just chicken breast than you do to buy a whole chicken, and you get all the other product, right? So we get our bones, we can make stock. We get our chicken tenders that we can fry and serve as an appetizer. We get our wings that we can sell in our bar. So there's a lot of different products that we can work with. Chicken size, Tyreek, is we want to work with what we call wogs or chicks, right? And in industry, it's kind of funny. We have all these weird names for products. Small lobsters, for example, are called chicks. What the heck is that, man? Right? And that's 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds, but you go into any kitchen across the United States and you say, hey, I need lobsters, chicks. And then they know what size to send you. Wogs for chickens, for example, are going to be about 2.5 to 3 pounds each, right? If you order capons are very large, mature chickens, right? They're about 6 to 7 pounds. They're very large. The meat can be very tough. You don't want them, get rid of them. So you want to stick with wogs that are about 2.5 to 3 pound chickens. Those are going to give you roughly 4 to 6 ounce size chicken breast, which is an ideal size to be working with. And they're also very, very easy to work with because of their size. The chicken, you're going to take it out of the bag, right? And you're going to remove the innards. You're going to rinse it, and then you're going to pat it dry. There's a couple of reasons we pat it dry. Number one, we don't want those juices running all over our cutting boards. Number two, those juices act as a lubricant, and it'll force that little chicken to go swimming all over your cutting board while you're trying to cut it. So make sure your cutting board and your chicken are both dry. We know that you traditionally use a boning knife for this. That boning knife is going to come in week 3. We're in week 2, so you're going to be using your chef's knife for this, which is perfectly fine. So you don't have to worry too much about that. We're going to be cutting this chicken into what we call 4-way. And a 4-way would be breast. So you get 2 breasts and then the leg and the thigh. So it's actually 6-way. And in restaurant industry, once you're in a commercial kitchen, you can order your chickens to be cut for you. You can order them 8-way. You can order them 6-way. You can order them 4-way. And that's telling the butcher how many parts you want that piece of chicken to be cut into. So the first thing I want to share with you, when we do this, let me get to our screen. Isn't this exciting? I love butchering chicken, right? Mm-hmm. So I graduated from culinary school back in 1990. Oh my God. I graduated from culinary school in 1990, and I had a big head. I knew everything because I had my degree now. I was righteous. I knew more than you. I went up to the chef, gave him my diploma, and I said, hey, guess what? He goes, you can start butchering chickens now. So I did that for 6 months straight, just cutting chickens every day. And that really taught me a lesson about who I am and that I have a lot to learn. But at any rate, you've dried your chicken. You remove the innards out of the inside, and you're going to take your knife and you're going to make an incision right along the joint right in here, the leg joint. You're going to cut that skin. You're going to feel for the joint underneath the backside of the leg, and you're going to pop it out, just like is done in this photo. The video that's in the research materials is going to show you this technique. So basically, you're cutting this skin right here. You don't have to cut the meat. You're just cutting the skin, right? It's not connected. So you're going to cut the skin, and then you're going to take your index finger and you're going to put it on the joint on the opposite side of the chicken, and you're going to flip it out. And that's going to dislodge the leg from the carcass. Then you're going to take your knife and you're going to cut around the side of the carcass right up through this area. And then you're going to pop that out, and then you will have your leg and your thigh. The big thing to learn here in this technique, your leg and your thigh right here have a white line. It's like a small white line of fat that goes right in between the joint. To separate those two, you cut right through that line of fat. It'll cut just like butter because it'll slip right in between the joint and it'll make it nice and soft.
I take my thumb and I press it right on that line, and you can feel the joint right beneath your thumb, and you can just cut right through it.
Right out, yeah.
Yep, just like butter.
Absolutely. Let's answer some questions here real quick. How about, who was the first one? Patrick, or was it? Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, hello? I never received my toolkit, so what do I need to buy?
Did you get that, Chef Matthew?
You said you haven't received any part of your toolkit yet. What tools do you need to buy?
I haven't received anything.
Okay.
Chef Matthew, do you want to get his name in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and we'll talk to him on the side?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Patrick. Jeffrey, what's up?
So, Chef, I have a question about sanitation and chicken. So I have a Boos cutting board, and what I've typically done is I have one side, if the Boos is facing, that's vegetables. If it's upside down, that's meat. I was reading in the book, and I'm learning this, and I want to know what you want us to do. Is it okay to use the same side? Because I just flip them over depending on that, and then when I'm done, I'll boil water and pour it on the Boos to disinfect it. But
what kind of cutting board is that? I'm not familiar with. Is that like
Boos? It's a meat cutting board. It's Yeah, or boot, yeah, BOSS or whatever. I use it for barbecuing. I do a lot of barbecuing.
Okay. That's a great question. I'm really glad you asked that. Number one, that style of cutting board they're grandfathered out, or they're not allowed in the kitchens. And I love them. I have one at home. I have two of them. My entire island is made out of that material, as a matter of fact, because it's a softer surface. It doesn't dull your blades.
Yeah.
However, they are absorbent, and they do take quite a bit of work to clean. So,
Yes.
In industry, it's a major no-no. We only use polyurethane cutting boards, anywhere from, I always like 3/4 inch is my favorite, to 1 inch, because they don't warp, they don't absorb, and you scrub them down, you clean them, you soak them in a little bit of bleach water, and boom, they're fresh as a daisy.
Okay.
So
Can I continue to use the boost, or do you want me to get a polyurethane?
I would rather you get a polyurethane.
Okay.
Just for the simple fact, that's where you're going, and so you might as well get there now.
Okay.
You know, whether you're planning on opening up your own restaurant or going into industry directly, you might as well get in the habit now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions before we move on to the next? All right. So to remove the breast, we just remove the leg and the thigh from the chicken. Remember, we just cut right down on the side of the carcass. We just snap the skin, put our index finger on the joint underneath. We pull back, we pop it out. We cut the leg and the thigh off. The leg has the white line down the center. We cut right down through it, separates it out naturally. Now we need to remove the breast from the chicken. It's not nearly as complicated as we say, like I like to think it is. But the chicken breast over here, we're going to simply run your knife down one side of the keel bone. You're going to make long, sweeping, smooth strokes, right? And you're going to go slow, because you want to feel the tip of your knife rubbing down along the rib cage. And you're simply going to follow the skeletal structure of the chicken until you get down to the bottom. And then you're going to pop the breast off. It's very, very simple. And then before you do that, you can actually stick your fingers inside the small hole where the neck comes out, and you'll feel the wishbone in there, and you can simply pull that out with your fingers. It's quite simple. This is a picture of it right here. Then you can rub your knife down along the keel, slow, smooth strokes, feeling the carcass with the tip of your knife as you go down. And then here underneath the chicken breast is where we find the chicken tender, right here, which is this piece. Some chefs like to keep it attached. Some chefs like to keep it separate and use it for pasta dishes and whatever else the case may be. But removing the breast is quite simple. And then when you get done with this is what you're going to end up with. You're going to have your chicken breast. Then you're going to have your 2 legs, 2 thighs, right? And then your wing joints. Your wing joints can remain attached to the breast. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to separate them. So you would just have 6 pieces. In industry, when the first wing joint is still attached to the chicken breast, that is what is referred to as an airline chicken breast, which is important. Important note down here at the bottom of the page: store in a airtight container such as a Ziploc bag, properly labeled and dated. What are they talking about? What's up?
Proper storage? Why would you do that?
All right, ladies and gents, in industry, food storage is a major issue. Number one, every time you store something, that's money. It's just like putting money in the bank, except you're putting it in a bag or a container, right? So we want to make sure we store it properly. Number two, we want to make sure we don't get anybody sick, so we have to take very good care of it. I always recommend in industry, and Chef Matthew is going to back me up on this too, we have rolls of masking tape all over our kitchen, right? And we take the masking tape, we pull it out, we write on it what it is, today's date, the date 7 days from today, because that's the expiration date. Generically across the United States, you put today's date and then you put the date 7 days from today, and then you're either going to put your name or your initials on it, right? So everybody got that? Critical, right? What it is: today's date, expiration date, initials. It's only 4 things. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things. It's easy. So you got to make sure that you do that. Here's a prime example of what I'm talking about. Your chicken this week, you're going to need this chicken down the road, so you're going to want to save it. You can freeze it, or you can cook it off and break down another chicken. But for example, in industry, what I would do is I would put this chicken into this Ziploc bag. I would remove all the air out of the bag, and then my label, I just took a piece of masking tape, and you'll do the same thing when you get into industry. What it is, who did it, right? Today's date, expiration date. Does that look legit, Chef Matthew?
That looks legit.
That's legit. Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah, so that's what we're working on here. Let's answer Donald's question here quickly. Donald, what's going on, man? What's up, Donald?
Breast won't affect that part, will it? The wishbone. I said, what's the purpose of getting a wishbone out if it's attached to the carcass?
No,
I mean, it's not going to get cut or anything.
The wishbone a lot of times will end up in the breast fragmented.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So,
All right. And then my second question real quick. Give me that temp danger zone. You said it was 35 or something to what?
okay, I'm glad you brought that up, Donald, because that's pretty awesome. As you go across the country, right, north to south, east to west, you're going to see variations in the temperature danger zone according to the local health departments, right? Here in Tucson, Arizona, it is 40 to 145.
All right, I'm in Kentucky.
Yeah. So you're going to have to check with your local, but ServSafe is the National Restaurant Association's sanitation program.
Okay.
They always say 35 degrees to 141.
Okay.
And that's a pretty safe number. 40 to 140, 40 to 145, right in that area, you're going to be pretty safe, man.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Cool, you got it. All right, let's get another question. How about Benjamin? What's up, man?
Hey, Chef, I got a question. I noticed looking over to the assignments on what we got to do that we can use the chicken later on, but I didn't see anything about the carcass. But don't we need the carcass next week for making a stock?
You will be using the carcass for a stock. Yes, good. I'm glad you brought that up. Because we do get into stocks in this class. And so go ahead and put that carcass into the freezer and until we get that, because you're going to be making soups and stocks a couple of weeks. I'm not sure if it's week 6 still or if it moved back a little bit. So thanks,
Yeah,
man.
right on, Chef. And tag and bag that too and put it in the freezer, because stuff when it's frozen looks way different. I know I've looked at my freezer and my wife put something in there and I'm like, what's this? You know, I knew what it was a month ago, but.
Oh, yeah. Or you make what we call in industry, and it's called cream of freezer soup. That's where you pull everything out of the freezer and it goes into a pot. Or cream of walk-in is delicious too. Tag and bag, guys. Do it properly. This is what we're going to be looking for in the photos. So make sure that you get it right. Let's take Paula. What's up, Paula?
Do you have any tips on keeping the skin on? Every time I take a chicken apart, usually the thighs, I have the skin is like off.
No, that starts when you initially begin butchering the chicken. So number one, you have to work with an extremely sharp knife. And I mentioned a couple of times, long, smooth strokes are going to prevent that chicken from pulling loose, and it'll help keep it on. Naturally, the skin is going to be disconnected from several areas on the chicken just because of the way you cut it. So you are going to have some slippage and some shrinkage. It's
okay.
Yep. Is that it?
Yes.
Right. How about Amber? What's up, Amber?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Do we have to use like the frozen carcass that we use from this week to make the chicken stock next week, or can we like get like a fresh one from the butcher? Because I'm trying to specialize in farm and table, so I'm kind of like trying to not use frozen if I have to?
Now, wait. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. That's perfectly fine. And I'm glad you're thinking that way. There is nothing wrong, and it's still farm to table, even though the chicken carcass has been frozen. And I would almost rather use a frozen chicken carcass than a fresh chicken carcass for stocks. And the reason for that is, number one, it's not going to affect the quality, but number two, the freezing kills all the bacteria or any potential form of foodborne illness that's on the chicken. So you are actually creating a healthier, safer product for your customer in the long run. Now, if that chicken had been in my freezer for the last, I don't know, let's say since 95, I would probably not want to use it because it'd be a little bit freeze dried. But hey, if it's been in there for a week, go for it, Amber.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, who's next? Jeffrey, you got another question? What's up, man?
Sorry, I keep on. I'm gonna have a ton of them through this course. Get used
You're
to
fine,
it.
man.
So if we're gonna freeze something, do we still do the 7-day labeling?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're freezing it.
Yep. Okay. Good question. In the United States, there is no end date to frozen products. Okay. Because what happens when you freeze it, the water activity stops. It can't spread foodborne illness. You could keep that chicken in there until, I don't know, 2050 if you want to. It's legal. So when you go into a restaurant and you've had frozen food, only God knows how long it's been there.
Yeah.
Because it's not against the law.
So what do you do like in a restaurant? Like, and I'm just hypothetical. I've got this chicken. I pulled it out of my freezer. It's defrosting. I'm doing everything. Health inspector comes in. He looks at the bag with the label of 7 days, and that was 6 months ago.
Yeah. Then you can just verbalize it. That's no problem. You're not going to have a challenge as long as you're properly thawing that out. Because the health inspector will inspect the product, but you always want to train your cooks one safe way to do something.
Okay.
Got it? All right. Layla, what were you trying to ask a question?
It was the same question, Chef. I was just wondering about the chicken. Like, what if we had kept it in there for basically like how long did the chicken last frozen? But he just asked it, so I'm good.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Just to comment on freezing food like that, the better you wrap it, the better quality is going to be kept for freezing. And also, freezing does not improve the quality of anything except a popsicle. So
ice cream gelato.
Yeah, I mean, right. But chicken will not improve in there. If I have two pounds of chicken breast and I put it in the freezer and 2 months later I thaw it out, I don't have 2 pounds of chicken breast anymore because it will pull the moisture out. I actually lose product. It won't spoil, but it's not going to improve in quality. It'll probably be rubbery too when I cook it. So,
a freezer should be used like a vacation, right? No more than 7 days. That's it. In and out, right? Go on vacation, enjoy yourself, get out. Right? Same thing with your freezer. Let's talk about Donald. What's up?
Question pertaining to frozen product. I know when I was in the military, something came out. It's about the mid '90s, but anyway, something came out about the discovery of foodborne illnesses discovered in frozen products. Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing you all say that the shelf life can be extended pertaining to how you wrap it and this and that. But have you heard anything about that over the years? You know what I'm saying? And if so, how would you go about either dealing with that?
So that's a great question. I am not aware of any foodborne illness that goes dormant during the freezing process and then comes back alive during the thaw process. Not to say that, hey, if the chicken was rancid before you put it in there, it's probably going to be rancid when it comes out of there, right? So if it's rank when you freeze it, it's going to be rank when you thaw it out. But I'm really not familiar with any types of like a botulism, listerosis, salmonella, or anything like that thrives in that type of environment, so to speak.
Yeah, you got it right, Chef. I mean, it's not going to grow in that environment, but if it's already spoiled prior, then the toxin is already in the food, and it can't be frozen out of it. freezing it's not going to change anything. Let's say a piece of chicken has a rampant salmonella infestation, then you freeze it. Okay, now the salmonella is dead, but all the toxin is still there. So
it's like if you leave the house with a flat tire, when you come home, the tire's still going to be flat. All right. All right, let's get on to the next one. Rudolph, what's up, man?
I do have a question. I was looking at
Rudy. Sorry, I got to get used to the names here.
Either one works. I don't care. Anyways, I was looking at the assignment, and I was wondering, there is the narrative reflection. How do we do that, and do we have to do that this week?
That is up next. So great question, and I'm trying to get to that. I want to get through these questions, and I'm going to answer that one, Rudy. So thanks for bringing that up, man.
You're welcome.
All right, Alicia, what's up?
Just wondering if the same rules apply for like cooked food as far as freezing them.
Absolutely. But like Chef Matthew was insinuating a moment ago, when you freeze foods, it naturally dehydrates or dries them out, and you actually lose water weight. So let's say you make a lasagna, you want to freeze the portions or whatever, I don't know. You're going to have if it's in there for an extended period of time, it is going to alter the quality of your product. So you really want to watch out for that. I'm like Amber was saying a minute ago, I'm really big into the farm to table thing, and I really love that freshness. That's why I always keep the thing on the freezer, just like my vacations, man. 7 days, boom, boom. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
All right, Monica.
Hi, Chef. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I have this tradition when you thaw something out and then you prepare it and then you refreeze it, it's not a good thing. So should I buy a raw chicken to do for this and then freeze it?
Absolutely, yes. Number one, that's great. I'm glad you're bringing that up. You don't want to thaw, freeze. You're jerking that product around, and it's going to be a bad thing by the time you get it done. Number one, every time you thaw it out, you run into the situation of potentially developing some type of foodborne illness. Number two, every time you freeze it, you dry it out. So I mean, you're killing the product. So one chicken, yeah. Sound good? All right, everybody, we're going to move on to the new thing that we're going to be doing this week. With your assignments, we're going to be talking about the narrative, which you are going to see before we start. Each week, you are going to have a narrative that will be due with your assignment. Before you can become a chef, you have to learn to communicate, right? You have to learn how to describe your product verbally to your staff members and to your customers so you can sell the product. Hey, how's your soup today? It's good. Hey, what flavor does it have? Garlic. Right? It doesn't work. Hey, we have this lovely fresh homemade soup. We have this great farm to table program. The soup is made from this lovely chicken stock with mirepoix that has these overtones of this and that. All of a sudden, people want to start buying your product. You have to learn to communicate in that way. So beginning this week, you're going to have your narrative in your production sheet that will be due with each assignment. It is listed on the assignment page, and we're going to pop over here and take a look at it real quick. And it's actually quite simple. I know not all questions on the narrative this week are applicable to this sheet. I don't want you to describe the flavor of raw chicken. It's not. We're not asking you to do that. Only answer the questions that are applicable to this week's assignment, right? What expectations or concerns did you have about this assignment, right? Hey, I thought I was going to screw it up, but it really came out great, right? What did you prepare? You know, your organization. It's the steps that you take, right? Have you used this technique before? Yes or no? Right? Is it different? Yes or no? You have to learn how to begin describing your information. Down here, once we start cooking more solid dishes, I think in weeks 3 or 4, you're going to start using the flavor wheel. The flavor wheel, you click on this, you open up the flavor wheel page. It's going to give you some verbiage to explain this, right? So on the assignment this week, you're going to open up the narrative, you're going to make a copy of it, and then you're going to submit it into your Google Drive with your assignment, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. Okay, the narrative, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine if you have a staff, a culinary staff of 25 people, right? And you need the same exact recipe replicated 1,000 times on a nightly basis, right? Are you going to stand there? Are you going to walk around and tell everybody and make sure they're all doing it the right way? Are you going to learn how to communicate on paper and develop operational procedures and provide specific descriptions on how to do it? And that's what this narrative does. You will be amazed. Your first narratives are probably not going to be too good. By week 12, you're going to look back and go, my God, what happened? Because you can describe this food. And it makes a lot of good sense. And, you know, certainly reach out this week if you guys have questions about that. It's very, very important. It's a new thing. So we expect the questions. And I want to take a quick look at our assignment this week. Okay, our assignment, knife skills, right? So you're going to do a little bit of cutting with potato this week. We didn't talk too much about this. The paisan and the oblique cut are done with a carrot this week. It's very, very simple. The techniques and everything else are in the research materials. I didn't want to focus on it this week, but they're very simple cuts. It's only a half a cup each, right? 20-minute project right there. Chicken fabrication, right? Self-identification photo. Make sure you guys are looking sharp. Make sure you got shoes on and a hat on. Very, very important. You need to have sanitation strips in both photos. Very, very important. 50 parts, between 50 and 100 parts per million. Critical. 2 legs bagged together for the chicken. 2 thighs bagged individually. 2 bags, right? Individually, right? 2 breasts bagged individually. 2 bags, 2 bags, 2 bags, right? 2 wings and carcasses bagged, labeled, and dated, right? Real simple. Real simple. Get it in by Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. What kind of questions do we have? Anybody? Rudolph, you got another question, Rudy?
Sir, questions. That
Chef Matthew, I didn't get that. Did you get it?
I didn't hear it.
I didn't get you there, Rudy. You want to ask your question in the chat. Chef Matthew can answer it for you. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Dusty. What's up, Dusty? Dusty. Dusty?
There we go. When
Dusty.
Yes, I'm here.
What's your question?
When I talked to you same ID, is that not the case?
Can you repeat your question? I didn't know it. Dusty?
Yes, can you hear me?
What's your question?
Okay, when I talked to you in message through class, you said that we use a picture for the same ID picture, the same picture, because we're setting up our station. I was doing everything in one go.
Okay.
Is that not the case? Because you just said that we needed 2.
If they are done at separate times, you need 2. If they are done continuously, Chef Matthew will take 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't see the narrative on mine. Was that because I got in and did it last week to turn in this week? I'll just.
You'll need to go back and do the narrative.
I'll do that. No problem.
That was added in today.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, you're welcome. All right, who else do we have? Let's get Jacqueline. Woo.
Managed to get this to the office.
Jacqueline. Jacqueline. Oh, we got people unmuting themselves out there. So hang on. Oh. I was about to start scratching my side like a dog does, you know, the thing there. Okay, Alicia, what's your question, Alicia?
How big was the chicken supposed to be?
I recommend a little bit smaller, 2.5 to 3 pounds. That's my recommendation. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Awesome. Ladies and gents, if you guys have additional questions or want additional information, once again, please feel free to contact myself or contact Chef Matthew. He's an awesome source of food knowledge, and he also loves baseball. So certainly feel free to reach out and talk to him. This has been an awesome live session, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your participation, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon.